Parshat Shemot. This year is dedicated to the memory of Rachalea Bas Rav Chaim Tzvi. We begin a new Sefer, talking about a new character, a new leader, Moshe Rabbeinu, Moshe, our teacher. Last year in Parshat Learning Group, we analyzed the conversation between Moshe and God at the sneh, at the burning bush. This year I'd like to continue with chapter 4, verse 18, which discusses what Moshe does after God reveals himself to him at the burning bush, after God gives Moshe his mission to go down to Egypt and to tell the Jewish people that God is going to redeem them from their slavery. So chapter 4, verse 18. Vayelach Moshe, and Moshe went, Vayeshev al Yeter Chotno, and he returns to Yeter, his father-in-law. Where is he returning from? He's returning from the desert, from the burning bush, where God has just spoken to him. Back in our verse, Vayomer lo, and he says to him, Moshe says to his father-in-law, Yeter, or Yitro, Elchana v'ashuva elachai asher b'Mitzrayim, please, let me go, so that I can return to my brothers that are in Egypt. Ve'eha odam chayim, and I will see, are they still alive? Vayomer Yitro Moshe, and Yitro says to Moshe, Lech l'shalom, go in peace. Vayomer Hashem el Moshe b'Midyan, and God said to Moshe in Midyan, Lech shuv Mitzrayim, go, return to Egypt. Ki metu kol ha'anashim mevakshim et nafshecha, because all the people who are seeking your soul, who want to kill you, have died themselves. Verse 20, Vayikach Moshe et ishto, and Moshe took his wife, ve'et banav, and his sons, v'yarkiveim ala chamor, and he has them travel on the donkey, vayashav arza Mitzrayim, and he returns to the land of Egypt. Vayikach Moshe et matei ha'elokim biyado, and Moshe takes the staff of God in his hand. We have a number of questions on these verses, and we'll begin with our questions on verse 18. Our first question is, why does Moshe ask permission from Yisro to leave? How do we know that Moshe asks Yisro for permission to leave? Again, return to verse 9. Elchana, please, let me go down to Egypt to see whether my brothers are still alive. Please, so I can go. Moshe is requesting permission from Yisro to go down to Egypt. Well, why does he need to ask him this permission? God just told him, go. Isn't that enough of a command? Why does he need to stop along the way and ask Yitro to go? And our second question is, the reason Moshe gives Yisro for going. Moshe tells Yisro, I want to go down to Egypt to see whether my brothers are still alive. But that's not the reason God gave him. God didn't tell him go down to Egypt to see whether the Jews are surviving. God told Moshe, I see the Jews are suffering. Their cries have reached me, and I'm sending you down to tell them that God is going to redeem them. Well, if that's the reason why Moshe is going down to Egypt, well, why doesn't he just tell Yisro the real reason? Why does he say, let me go down to see what's happening to my brothers in Egypt? Instead of telling him, God appeared to me, I have a mission. I'm supposed to tell the Jewish people that God is going to redeem them. We'll begin with those two questions. And as usual, the first commentator who we turn to when we have a question on the verses is Rashi, a medieval commentator. Verse 18, and he returned to Yeter, his father-in-law, Litol Reshut, to ask for permission. So Rashi is telling us, yes, the reason Moshe does not go straight down to Egypt is because he needs permission from his father-in-law. And you and I know that we see he's asking his father-in-law permission from the words in the verse. Now again, why is he asking him permission? Sharei nishbalo, because he swore to him. And again, we're going to pause Rashi there. Moshe has sworn to Yisro something. What exactly has Moshe promised Yisro? If you look at an earlier Rashi, in verse 21, chapter 2, We're told there, when Moshe comes up to Midian, he meets the daughters of Yisro, and then eventually he meets Yisro. Again, chapter 2, verse 21. Vayoel Moshe lashevet et ha'ish. And Moshe began to dwell with the man. Vayitain et Tzipora bitola Moshe. And he gives his daughter Tzipora to Moshe. Vateled ben, and she gives birth to a child. Vayikrat shemo Gershom. She calls his name Gershom. Ki amar, because he said, Ger hayiti be'eretz nachriya. I am a stranger, a ger, in a strange land. What does it mean? Moshe begins to dwell with the man, to dwell with Yisro. Look at Rashi chapter 2, verse 21. Vayoel, kitargumo, like the Targum translates, vidomelo, and similar to it, ho'il navalin, velu ho'alnu, ho'alti ledaber. Again, the first understanding, explanation of the word Vayoel is he acceded to, or he began. And now we get to the second explanation, the second definition of this word, umidrasho, and the Homiletics interpretation, or the way the Midrash explains it.